It takes considerable knowledge just to realize the extent of your own ignorance. The welfare state is the oldest con game in the world. First, you take people's money away quietly, and then give some of it back to them flamboyantly. When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. Socialism in general has a record of failure so blatant that only an intellectual could ignore or evade it. Much of the social history of the Western world over the past 3 decades has involved replacing what worked with what sounded good. People who enjoy meetings should not be in charge of anything. Virtually every disaster of this century has been caused by experts. Racism is not dead, but it is on life support, kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racists. The first lesson of economics is scarcity. There is never enough of anything to satisfy all those who want it. The first lesson of politics is to disregard the first lesson of economics. The most basic question is not what is best, but who shall decide what is best. The big divide in this country is not between Democrats and Republicans or women and men, but between talkers and doers. Too much of what is called education is little more than an expensive isolation from reality. You will never understand bureaucracies until you understand that for bureaucrats, procedure is everything and outcomes are nothing. Mistakes are inevitable, but what is truly unforgivable is refusing to learn from them. If you have always believed that everyone should play by the same rules and be judged by the same standards, that would have gotten you labeled a radical 50 years ago, a liberal 25 years ago, and a racist today. Freedom has cost too much blood and agony to be relinquished at the cheap price of rhetoric. People who have time on their hands will inevitably waste the time of people who have work to do. It is amazing how many people think that the government's role is to give them what they want by overriding what other people want. Bailing out people who made bad decisions risks encouraging others to make bad decisions. The fact that so many successful politicians are such shameless liars is not only a reflection on them, it is also a reflection on us. When the people want the impossible, only liars can satisfy. Many of the dangers we face today are the result of making decisions based on politics rather than logic. The beauty of doing nothing is that you can do it perfectly. Only when you do something is it almost impossible to do it without mistakes. The question is not what anybody deserves. The question is, who has the right to take what someone else has earned? No society ever thrived because it had a large and growing class of parasites living off those who produce. The most fundamental fact about the ideas of the political left is that they do not work. Therefore, we should not be surprised to find the left concentrated in institutions where ideas do not have to work in order to survive. One of the painful signs of years of dumbed-down education is how many people are unable to make a coherent argument. They can vent their emotions, question other people's motives, make bold assertions, repeat slogans, anything except reason. If people in the media cannot decide whether they are in the business of reporting news or manufacturing propaganda, it is all the more important that the public understand that difference and choose their news sources accordingly. Sometimes it seems as if people believe the government exists to turn their prejudices into laws. Competition does a much more effective job than government at protecting consumers. Envy was once considered to be one of the 7 deadly sins before it became one of the most admired virtues under its new name, social justice. The quest for cosmic justice is not about justice at all. It is about the author's vision of the world and the coercion of the rest of us to change the world to fit that vision. Life in general has never been fair, and the idea that government policy can make it fair is unthinking utopianism. One of the consequences of such notions as entitlements is that people who have contributed nothing to society feel that society owes them something, apparently just for being nice enough to grace us with their presence. What multiculturalism boils down to is that you can praise any culture in the world except Western culture, and you cannot blame any culture in the world except Western culture.